Happy new moon in Capricorn. I am getting ready to do a reading with my runes, my set of runes here. I'm going to cast them and take a look at what healing looks like for this moment and this lunar cycle beginning today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all of my subscribers, everybody who is watching. I hope that this is useful. I hope that this message finds those who can use it. My name is Petra, and I'm here in my apothecary. I make herbal medicines and elemental tools for healing. I'll put the link in the description so you can check out my shop. And I'm going to pull these runes and take a look at what healing looks like. Runes are a set of symbols from pre-Christian Scandinavia. They're used for divination, for magic. I'm going to draw, after I do this reading, I'm going to draw the symbols together, combine them into what's called a bind rune, which is a sigil that contains all the runes inside it. So I'll post that on my blog and put that link in the description too. If you work with runes, consider these that I'm pulling today, consider them a suggestion or an offering of runes that you can work with to call in healing for yourself, for others. If you don't work with runes, or if you don't know what runes are, that's fine. This reading is for anybody who's healing. This is, I'm just using these runes as a tool to tap in and take a look at what healing looks like. So this is for anybody who's healing. I ask that this message find those who can find it useful. And I ask that this message bring in healing for the greater whole. For our communities, for those of us in this planetary body we call Earth, I ask that these messages provide guidance for healing. Okay. I think they want me to cast them. Sometimes I pick them and sometimes I cast them, and I think today, yep. Okay. My dearest runes, what does healing look like? What does this Capricorn new moon bring us the opportunity to heal? What does this lunar cycle ask us to heal? What are we being asked to heal? What are we being given the opportunity to heal? What does healing look like? Okay. This feels like it's referencing the last one I did. Because here we have Perthro, the darkness, the unknown, the great unknown, the infinite void. This was in the last reading that I did on the full moon. That was a full moon in Cancer. This is a new moon in Capricorn. So here we are in the darkness. The last one was about this relationship between the light and the dark. This feels like it's very much about the darkness, the unseen, what we're not seeing, unknown territory, going out into the unknown, the great unknown, that infinite possibility that's in the territory you haven't looked at yet. that's where we're at, right? We are in a place that is unknown territory. We are in the unknown. Nobody knows what to do next, right? Nobody knows what comes next. This is unknown territory. And then above Perthro, Uruz, the ox, pure strength. I love that this is here, given that Mars just entered Taurus. The bull. This is the bull. Here's that energy, that Taurus energy. And grounded strength. This is kind of, to me, feels like that masculine aspect of Taurus. Mars in Taurus. Mars was in Aries for a long ass time, right? It was in Aries for the last 6 months. And so we just last week shifted into this new Mars type of energy, Taurus. Right next to the bull is the harvest, karma. Reflection. So this rune, Jera. I don't know how to say that. I never know how to say this one. Jera. This is a very Libra type energy. It's the scales. It is things being reflected back. It's like that 7th house energy. The 7th house is the reflection of the 1st house, right? It's the opposite. It's things that are opposite, bouncing back. It's you put out an action, you get an equal opposite reaction. It's that principle. Interesting 3 together. It's almost saying to me, anything is possible. Like when you're in the unknown territory, when things are disrupted and unsure, and you're in a place where you don't know what comes next, and nobody knows what comes next, right? That's when whatever you put your mind to, or whatever you invest your energy in, your power, it will manifest. It will come back to you. You will see it. You will see the harvest on your efforts. So this is this dynamic between this like Taurus kind of initiating, planting, putting your daily actions behind things, right? Routine. Think about an ox, going down a farm. I'm going to sound like an idiot. I don't know what those are called. Rows of crops in a farm. You see like an ox pulling a plow. It just keeps, it's the same speed. It keeps going. It gets the job done. It's reliable. That's why you use an ox to plant seeds. You don't, it's not like a horse or a donkey that's like moving quickly or, sporadically, or you need it to move in a straight line. You need it to move slowly, and you need it to finish what it was doing. You need to be able to count on it to do that repeated motion. That's that Taurus energy, or that investing of putting your time and energy towards something. And this is that kind of the end of a farmer cycle, when way in the springtime in Taurus season, you sow those seeds with that ox, you put those seeds in, you invest that time and energy. Then after the summer passes, after everything grows, then you see the fruits of your labor. You get to see those seeds come to fruition, and you pick them, you weigh them, you see what you got from your investment. You see your investment come back to you, the return on your investment. And this is feeling like it's saying whatever you put in will come back to you. Because we are collectively in this unknown territory. It also feels like it's a cautionary kind of thing too. Like, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? Whatever you put your time and attention towards, coming back to you, seeing it immediately, seeing the effect of your actions, that if you're used to having a lot of blockages, or you're used to running in sand, or you're used to trying and not seeing your efforts, when you suddenly get traction, it's kind of like weird. It could be a jolt forward. It could be, you could not know how to handle that kind of power. So these two together can feel like a warning, or starting to feel like a warning for me of like, yeah, that's a good thing. Whatever you invest in, you get to see the fruits of it. So be very mindful what you're putting your time and energy towards, because that is what's going to come back to you. I think there was a sense of, when you're within a system that's working well, or let's say not well, but let's say it's just still functioning, right? And everybody kind of has their place, their lane, the structure is in place. You could try to make a lot of changes within that, but you often don't see the effects of your actions come back to you. I think, again, on a good side and a bad side, I think there's a lot of people who have been frustrated trying to make things happen, not seeing the fruits of their labor. And then on the other hand, a lot of people doing things and not seeing the consequences, right? Not feeling their karma, not feeling, being sort of sheltered or protected, people in places of power or privilege, taking out abuses and not seeing any kind of consequence, right? That kind of energy feels like this is directly speaking to a shift in how our actions are directly causing consequences for us. So, yeah. Literally just being like that, when the systems are not in place anymore and you're in this unknown territory, the rules of the game are different, right? Anybody can do anything and things will happen. People are no longer protected from, delusions. There's this kind of, this feels like a real warning about the way things are functioning going forward. When you are in unknown territory, think about that, the image of like walking through darkness or walking into darkness. Let's say you're in a light area, you're in a room with the light on, and there's the outside that is dark. There's no lights on out there. When you're inside, you can't see anything out there, right? When you walk out, there's that moment right before your eyes adjust. Think about when you first turn the light off or when you first walk outside at night, your eyes take a moment to adjust and you can't see anything for a moment. I feel like this is speaking about being in that moment, that particular moment in time when you haven't adjusted to the dark. Your eyes haven't adjusted to be able to see in the dark yet. So what do you do when you're in that scenario, right? Like, let's say you've just turned the light off and you're trying to make it to your bed. Or, you just turn your car light, you just come out of your house and it's dark. You have to feel around, right? With your feet. Like, you have to, if you're going to take a step, you have to kind of feel before you step. If you're trying to get to your bed, you kind of feel the furniture. You go with your very instinctual, you tap into your senses. You tap into your other senses besides your sight. That's what this ox energy is making me think of too. Taurus is about the earthly senses. Smell, taste, touch. That's what you rely on when your eyes haven't adjusted to the dark. Your instinct too, it's that feeling. I think a lot of people are afraid of that moment when, that's when the boogeyman is going to come out and grab you because you can't see anything. There's this other warning, right? Like that is a dangerous time to make sudden movements, right? When you've just turned off the dark and you've just turned off the light or the light just went out. Your eyes haven't adjusted yet. You don't want to make any sudden movements. You don't want to go, oh my God, a boogeyman, and run into, right? You don't want to make sudden movements. This is like speaking about going slow, relying on feeling your way out with your foot, right? Rely on what you know instinctually is already there because through your experiences, your senses. It's like don't jump. don't react quickly. This ox, you have to really get them going to sort of make them pay attention to you. If you've ever seen like bison, like a herd of bison crossing a freeway or something, there's like all these cars. Those bison don't care, right? They don't care at all. They're so big and they're going the direction they're going. And there's no car or human or amount of noise or whatever that's going to distract them. So this is a very strong encouragement. This Uruz ox rune. It's really strong encouragement to go slow, to pay attention to the senses, to ground yourself in what you can actually feel. If you're not able to use a sense that you've been able to, if a certain amount of security or stability is taken away from you, something that you've relied on is taken away from you, and you find yourself in this unknown space, it's your senses, it's your sense of direction, it's your internal sense of direction, and not panicking, doing what keep going even though you can't see what's there, because you know what's there because you can feel it. There's a lot of possibility in the unknown. These feel really positive, actually. Now I'm getting the flip side. Those felt like a warning, right? Don't panic. No sudden movements. Go slow. Go with what you know. Pay attention, right? Because the action, every step you take is important, and you will feel the consequences of it. That's the warning. Now it's feeling like a blessing. The richness, the possibility in this unknown. This rune is known for being this double-sided thing. Like, the dark people are afraid of the dark. It's this kind of, it's a little bit like the Tower card. Like, when you get it, it's like, ooh, what's that? It's a little scary. It's a little, being thrust out into an uncomfortable place where you just don't know, right? But it also contains all possibility. This is also like the Fool card, right? It also has that energy of like infinite things could be possible. You actually are at square one when you get this. Yeah, and this is like healing. I mean, tying it into healing, right? The last reading I did, it spoke about healing the relationship between what we see and what we can't see. And this is asking us to find the wealth, find the richness and the power in the unknown. Use it to your advantage. Harness it. Harness it. That's the other thing with this ox rune always makes me think of, is that what it takes to harness that energy. Right? And how farmers, it's like no human can pull that much weight. So we have these relationships with these large animals that can, and if you've ever seen like farmers and their cows or horses or their work animals, right? There's a lot of, they take care of them, they respect them. There's you have to feed it and nurture it and take good care of it. It's like there's that investment quality, that Taurus quality here again. It's like, what does it take to actually harness the power of the unknown? To actually get something good, to get a good return out of it. Right? It's this almost seductive. Ooh, these are two. Yeah, I like that. These are both two very Venus-like principles. This is like a masculine Venus, a masculine Taurus, and this feels like a feminine Libra. The scales, the ox. It's like there's a seductive quality to it. There's a very Venus-like principle of allowing or receiving, allowing what's coming to you to come to you. It's this make a move and see what comes to you. You will see the reflection of your investments because we are now here. Yeah, this is about harnessing the unknown, finding the value in it, finding that nurturing, investing in ourselves, investing in the things that really matter, right? The things that really care to us, that things that really matter. Like the ox energy of just not allowing any distractions. Going, okay, the light just turned off. Everything I was relying on is suddenly gone, but okay, I can feel that this desk is here. I can feel that. I know that that's right there. I know that that's there. Okay, let me take a moment and ground myself in what I do have. The senses that I do have, the information, that gut information that I do have, and then let me go with that and not give in to any of this distraction, this sort of jump of fear that you might feel when you can't see anything and you're waiting for your eyes to adjust, right? You know you're going to be able to see in a few minutes a little better, but you need to give yourself that time to adjust so that you can, get where you were trying to go, so you can do what you're trying to do, carry out that direction that you were on. It's like, yeah, asking us to be really present in our bodies, in our senses, in the senses that we do have access to not get caught up in, oh my God, the light just turned off. Oh my God, it's dark. To not get caught up in that, to not let that distract us from what we do have access to, the power and the information and the senses that we do have full access to still. Interesting. That's very interesting. I feel like that's a straight up warning too, honestly. I'm going to say this again. If you're doing things and you haven't been seeing the consequences, you're going to start seeing the consequences. If that is good or thing or a bad thing is up to you, and it depends on what you've been doing. Or depends on what you're doing, right? It depends on, you can start doing things now that are going to come back to you. Like, whatever you're investing in, you're going to get those returns. That's going to look really different for each individual, right? But there's wealth. That's the other part of both of these Venus runes, Venus type runes. They're wealthy. They're abundant. There's a lot of growth, and this, like I said, this is the beginning. This is planting your seeds and reaping them and getting the harvest. So there's opportunity, right? Healing looks like investing. Allowing what those investments create to come back to us. And I think that people are I think you'll be surprised at how quickly that happens in the next 6 months. Right, this Capricorn new moon, it starts a lunar cycle that is this month, and it also kind of carries a 6-month range. So when we hit Cancer season in the summer, we'll have a Capricorn full moon. And what I do is I go back and I like to look at what was happening, during this Capricorn new moon on the Capricorn full moon in 6 months. So it has this 6-month reflection period. So this feels like it's saying, okay, the next 6 months is fertile ground. It is unknown territory where the cards have been tossed. Like the lights have been, imagine like a gambling room or something where everybody, or a stock trading market or a busy marketplace where everybody has their things and things have been going a certain way and everyone has their job. And then let's say the power goes out. There's this mad dash for You know, everything gets thrown up in the air. The possibilities are completely open-ended. I mean, look at how the rune looks. This looks like something that is just open-ended. Anything can happen. So it's saying, if anything can happen, make sure that what you do make happen is what you mean to make happen, is what you want to come back to you. If anything can happen, that means you have to make moves that as if they are going to come back to you. You have to make investments as if they're going to be successful. Interesting. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's just what we needed. And it feels very healing. It feels like rich. It feels rich. I think we're going to see a lot emerge out of this time. A lot of new kinds of abundance, literally just fertile. That's that darkness, how the darkness of the soil is where all that fertility really is. That's where seeds tap in and to the wealth of the earth, right? And then grow themselves out of it. And it's interesting, it's that same principle of when something is in its first stages of development, like a seed or a child, right, in the womb, any kind of being, creation that is in its very first stages, every little movement is super critical. Every little movement is going to carry a heavy impact on the rest of that creation's existence, right? Because you're initiating it. So yeah, that Venus, it's like, okay, within the darkness, it's asking us to tap into that Venus energy. Both the masculine side of it and the feminine side of it. And I think it's interesting because, I actually want to talk about this for a second. I feel, okay, Venus we think of as being feminine, right? Feminine energy. But I think one of the most masculine signs is Taurus. That ox energy. It's because it's forceful, it's fixed earth, it's like the most stubborn. When a Taurus puts their mind to something, you better not try to get in their way, right? You're just going to hurt yourself trying to fight them. So that Taurus determination and strength, which is here in this Uruz, ox rune, I think of that as the nurturing side of Venus, okay? So we think of Venus as very feminine. We also think of nurturing as very feminine. But I don't think Venus feminine energy is actually that nurturing. Hear me out. I think it has this more scales, justice, perfection, things needing to be just so. Right, the other sign of Venus is Libra. It's that scales, it's the Lady Justice. She's weighs things out and she does not accept anything less than perfect, right? It must be exact because it's a reflection. That's what a scale, that's how you get an exact match. It has to reflect. It's each other, right? So I feel like Venus energy, when it's expressed feminine, on this feminine aspect, the feminine air side, right? Libra, it's like, it becomes kind of masculine. It becomes kind of harsh almost. It's like, no, what you give is what you get. That is where you get a lot of wealth. That's where you get money. You are, you weigh it out exactly. She's a businesswoman. She's she's that kind of feminine energy that is harsh and doesn't accept anything less than what she deserves, right? And this ox energy is just generous beyond. Oxes will work themselves to death, right? They nurture with everything with their strength. Their strength is about nurturing. It's about investing. It's about putting in that energy into something so that it can grow. Taurus, Libra. So this feels like a balancing of those two kinds of energies. Those two aspects, opposing aspects of Venus. The nurturer, which I'm saying is kind of masculine, this ox. And the, shrewd businesswoman, the harvest, the scales. They're very opposite. They're polarities within that Venus wealth spectrum. And here they are side by side as we're walking, through unknown territory. So there's something here, right, about, I think, masculine energy or masculine people learning how to be generous and nurturing and investing, learning how to use that masculine energy in that way. And then also something about feminine energy or feminine people, learning how to use discernment, learning how to use judgment, right? To not just accept any old thing. To be, karma. There's like, this is what I mean. It feels like this kind of switching of roles of the masculine and the feminine. Like the feminine aspects have been the nurturing ones, have been the parts of ourselves that give and give and give and take care. And the feminine parts of ourselves have been the ones that, the masculine parts of ourselves or the masculine people are the ones who are, more shrewd about their investments. Like I'm not, men famously won't do anything against their own self-interest in relationships, in love. And women are constantly, being the doormat, allowing themselves to be taken advantage of, giving and giving and giving for nothing in return, right? That is a tale as old as time. We're all sick of it, right? We're all sick of it. Well, I won't speak for everybody. But a lot of us are healing these different relationships and dynamics internally about giving and receiving, right? This is a masculine that gives, and this is a feminine that receives. Power, which creates power, right? That masculine that gives, that creates power. The feminine that receives, she allows what's coming to her, and she, right, discernment, I think of receiving here as like listening, right? Like paying attention and only giving back what is given to you, right? Like that, oh, you're going to give me this? Okay, here's an equal exchange. That's that feminine receiving energy. That's what Venus feminine energy looks like when it receives. And this is this balancing out. It's like this switching of roles. The feminine should be receiving and the masculine should be giving. It should not be reversed. That's why we've been so fucked up. If you want to create, okay? If you want to create, that's what these runes are about. If you want to create, it's about investing and receiving. I think that's part of the unknown territory too that we're in. That's part of what we're being asked to initiate out of this unknown territory. I think, a lot of us this past year, this past couple of years, a lot of people, most people are in very different situations. And I think as we're building, this is a beautiful image of masculine and feminine working together to create, to successfully create. And I think we actually have the space. We actually have the space to do that now. I don't think we have had the space to make that adjustment in quite some time. So yeah, harness the unknown territory to create. Beautiful. Thank you. I will create a bind rune and I'll post it on my blog. Thank you so much for listening. This is just really beautiful. I'm still kind of absorbing these runes. I hope you have a beautiful new moon, and I'll see you next time. Sending you protection if you want it, and I'll see you around.